Did you hear that Earth is getting a new mini moon? Today we'll read an article that discusses this new mini moon and you'll learn 72 everyday English expressions. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started.
Let's review the headline. A space rock is about to become Earth's new mini moon. So here we have Earth, of course, our moon, and this is the space rock that's about to become our new mini moon. Notice how the article uses about to become, which means it's happening very soon. Remember that you need the verb to be, and then you'll conjugate the verb to be based on the subject and time reference, and then the preposition about, and then the infinitive. Again, it means happening very soon. Let's look at this more advanced example. I was about to leave when my boss came into my office. So you can use I was, so this is the past simple because at this moment in the past, you were putting on your jacket, you were gathering your things, and you were leaving very soon. But then your boss came into your office. So both of these events are in the past, so you put them both in the past simple. I was about to leave when my boss came into my office. And when you want to show something in the near future, happening very soon, in the very near future, you use the verb to be in the present simple. I'm about to improve my English because in this lesson, which you're taking now, you will improve your English. I'm about to improve my English. So put let's go if you're excited because you're about to improve your English. So put that in the comments and don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now let's learn about this mini moon. Earth is about to gain. So same sentence structure, but here we're just using a different verb, the verb gain in the infinitive, because remember you use the infinitive with this expression. Earth is about to gain a new mini moon, but it won't stay around for long. Let's look at the use of around, because you could say, but it won't stay for long, remain in a location. Now, by using around, it simply refers to the specific area. So it won't stay around Earth, perhaps. It won't stay around a specific area for long. You could also use the expression, it won't stick around. It won't stick around for long. Have you heard that? Stick around? Stick around has the same meaning as stay around. It means remain in a specific location. So let's say this is an in-person class. All my students are right in front of me. How amazing would that be? And I say, stick around after the lesson if you have any questions. So I'm saying, stay in this location. So if you don't have any questions, you can leave, go to another class, go to the park, go grab lunch, but stick around, stay in this specific location, this room, this classroom, if you have any questions. It's very commonly used in natural speech, so I recommend you add it to your vocabulary. The newly discovered asteroid, let's review the pronunciation here. Notice there are three sounds, asteroid, but this middle sound is very fast. Asteroid. The newly discovered asteroid named 2024 PT5 will temporarily be captured by Earth's gravity and orbit our world from September 29th to November 25th, according to astronomers. Did you notice that when I read these numbers, I pronounced the TH, even though it wasn't there in writing? In more formal writing, it's common to leave out the ordinal clause, here the TH, it could also be an ST or an RD, third, first, for example. So it is acceptable to leave it out in writing, and that's commonly done in formal writing. However, when you pronounce the date, when you say it out loud, like I did here, reading it out loud, it would sound odd to not pronounce the ordinal number. So it would sound odd to say from September 29 to November 25. It doesn't sound right. It was even difficult for me to say this without pronouncing the TH. So make sure when you say numbers out loud, if they're ordinal numbers, you need to include that ST, RD, or TH. So let's review the pronunciation of all 4 options. I forgot pour second, so we'll review that option as well. So repeat after me. First, second, third, 29th. Okay, so don't forget to pronounce those when you say ordinal numbers out loud, including I work on the 4th floor, I work on the 2nd floor. You need to pronounce those as well. I made the point here, remember, optional when writing, but required when verbalizing, so saying the sounds out loud.
Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, the movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson.
Then the space rock will return to a heliocentric orbit. I have no idea what a heliocentric orbit is, but they define it. And this is commonly done. So if you see a definition, you can assume that this isn't common knowledge for native speakers. So because it's not common knowledge, you don't need to worry about adding this to your vocabulary. I've personally never said this or read this before now. So what is it? It's an orbit. So they use the word before orbit. Notice before they had the verb to orbit. So here, this was the verb to orbit. So orbit is the process of moving around, right? So the rock will move around. So that's to orbit, the verb, but here they're referring to it as a noun, an orbit. So this is just referring to it as a something. It's the movement of it around the sun. So that's the noun for an orbit. So that was the heliocentric orbit. It's an orbit around the sun. Before we move on, let's review this adverb then. Of course, remember, then means following these dates. So let's review some other choices, because adding adverbs or transition words, adverbial phrases, are a great way to make your idea more complex, your message more complex, especially in writing, but also in more formal presentations, speeches, job interviews, or even just at meetings or at work. You could say next, after. For this one, you could also just say after or after November 25th, because that was the last reference date. Remember, to verbalize it, you would add that TH sound, November 25th, but in writing, you don't have to. Following this or following that, you wouldn't just say following, you would have to include this or that, or following November 25th. Subsequently would be the most formal one. So if you're in a very formal environment in both writing or speech, subsequently would be a great choice. The other ones are all everyday, they sound professional, but subsequently sounds more formal. Subsequently, which just means then, next, subsequently the space rock will return to an heliocentric orbit, which is an orbit around the sun. Details about the ephemeral. Do you know what this means? Ephemeral. And what do you notice about my pronunciation here? Ephemeral. Ephemeral. So it's pronounced as an F, ephemeral. ephemeral. This means lasting for only a short time. It sounds more formal. It's not commonly used in everyday speech. It also sounds more poetic. So you could say something like, the beauty of a flower is ephemeral. So if you want to sound very poetic, or if you want to sound more formal, this is a great word choice, but it's not commonly used in everyday speech. Details about the ephemeral mini-moon, the mini-moon, the space rock, the asteroid. So far we have 3 different names, and it's only lasting for a short time. Details about the ephemeral mini-moon and the horseshoe-shaped path. Horseshoe-shaped path. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. So a horseshoe, that's a U pattern, horseshoe-shaped path. So that's the path it will be traveling on. So this is just to describe the path. It were published this month in the research notes of the American Astronomical Society. So here, note that were is conjugated with details. So even though there's all this information following it, this verb to be is conjugated with details, which is why it's third person plural. Details were published. All of this gives you more information about what type of details. Let's continue. Astronomers first spotted the asteroid. Do you know what to spot means? When you spot something, they first saw the asteroid. So when you see something for the first time, you spot it. We also use the verb spot when something is more difficult to see. So you might detect it or notice it with conscious effort. For example, did you spot any mistakes? I might ask you to review something I wrote and ask you if you saw any mistakes, but it's more through careful consideration or looking closely. Did you spot any mistakes? Or I might show you 2 pictures and ask, can you spot the differences? This is a game that's often included in magazines, on airlines, for example, or trains. There are 2 pictures and they tell you there are 5 differences and you have to try to spot the differences. Can you spot the differences? Can you detect them or notice them? Astronomers first spotted the asteroid, the space rock or mini moon, on August 7th. Remember, because I'm verbalizing this, I pronounce the TH. It's optional in writing. So I'll just highlight this again so you remember that. On August 7th, using the South Africa-based observatory of the NASA-funded Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS. Wow, that's a long name. And that's why they generally shorten the name to the acronym. And going forward, you can just refer to this as ATLAS. The asteroid is likely about 37 feet, 11 meters in diameter. So here they give the measurement, the diameter, which is the length across, that's the diameter. But notice they use the word likely. The asteroid is likely about 37 feet. So about means approximately. It's the more casual way to say approximately. And then likely means probable or expected, but not guaranteed. So it sounds like they don't know the exact size. They're giving an approximation, which makes sense in this case because it's an asteroid. But this is very commonly used in everyday speech. You can say, I'll likely take the bus. This means it's probable, it's expected, but it's not guaranteed. So if someone asks you, how are you going to get to the airport? I'll likely take the bus. But you may take a taxi or you may drive because this isn't guaranteed. It's expected. So if I ask you, are you going to watch my next lesson? You could say, I'll likely watch your next lesson, which is nice. It's expected, but not guaranteed. So if you want to sound stronger, you can say, I'll definitely watch your next lesson. So what about you? Will you definitely watch my next lesson? If you will, put that's right, put that's right in the comments. Let's continue. The space rock will orbit. So here, is this a noun or a verb? Because remember, we learned that both exist. Well, you always know because of the sentence structure. So here we have will, which is the auxiliary part of the future simple. And following will, we use the base verb. So I know that this is a verb based on sentence structure. And this is the future simple. The space rock will orbit about 2.6 million miles away, 4.2 million kilometers away. So what was the more formal way of saying about? Do you remember? Approximately. Approximately is the more formal way, but you can absolutely use about. So you could say it will take 2 hours to finish the report if you want to sound definitive, or you could say it will take about 2 hours, approximately 2 hours. Okay, so how much is this distance? I certainly don't know how far 4.2 million kilometers is, but so they give us a reference point, or about, again, another about, or approximately 10 times the distance between Earth and the moon. So this is a more helpful way to help the average person understand this distance, 10 times the distance between Earth and the moon. As a result, asteroid 2024 PT5 isn't in any danger of colliding with Earth now or over the next few decades. Whew, that's a relief, because do you know what collide means? Well, if they collide, it would be another way of saying hit, but it sounds very dramatic to collide, so to hit strongly. You hear this word a lot when reporting accidents. So maybe you're driving and you say, oh no, those cars are about to collide. So you notice that 2 cars are moving very closely together. So you say, quick honk. So you want to get their attention so you can avoid it, avoid the situation because it hasn't happened yet. How do you know? Because this word about to, which we previously learned, those cars are about to collide, quick honk. And then thankfully they didn't collide because you acted quickly. So here we have, but this is used in a positive way because asteroid 2024 PT5, that's the name of this mini moon space rock, isn't in any danger of colliding. Isn't in any danger of colliding. You could also replace these 3 words in any danger with at risk. But notice you still need your verb to be, which is here because it's to be at risk, and you need the preposition of because it's to be at risk of, and then notice we have our ing because we have our preposition of, so you need the gerund verb after. And let's look at as a result. This is a transition phrase. It's a group of words that help show the connection between the ideas. So this information that we're learning, the fact that there's no risk of collision, is a result of the fact that the distance is so vast. There's such a large distance between the two. As a result, is the preferred choice in a more professional or formal situation. In casual, everyday situations, the preferred choice would be so. Let's look at this example here. The order was late. Now I want to show the consequence of that. As a result, we lost the contract. So you could just have these 2 sentences. The order was late, we lost the contract. But it just sounds like 2 individual sentences. Where's the connection between them? And that's the importance of transitional phrases or words. As a result, and then if you want to sound more casual every day, so we lost the contract. And now I understand the connection between these two. Earth has previously captured other temporary mini moons, such as asteroid 2020 CD3. Although that asteroid was first spotted, and now you know what this means. If you wanted to replace this with the verb to see, what would be the conjugation? Although that asteroid was first seen. Seen is the past participle, and we want that because this is in the passive voice. That asteroid was first seen, to be seen, because the subject isn't doing the action. So this is the passive voice. You could say the astronomers first saw the asteroid to show the active voice, but this is passive. That asteroid was first seen. The asteroid is receiving the action. So that asteroid was first spotted whirling around. So whirling around means to move in a circular motion, and usually quite quickly, but also more erratically. So erratically means in an unpredictable or uncontrolled way. So my hair might whirl around in the wind. It's not following a specific pattern. It's just more uncontrollable erratically. Or you can think of leaves in the wind. Leaves will move around in a circular motion, the leaves from trees, of course, but it's not in a very orderly pattern. It's more erratic. They're just whirling around. Let's review that sentence again. Although that asteroid was first spotted whirling around Earth in February 2020 and departed a couple of months later, research showed it had orbited our planet for a few years before being detected. So again, remember, spotted we could also think of it as to be detected or noticed. So you could say before being detected, seen, or spotted. And again, this is the passive voice because the asteroid was detected before being detected, because it's receiving the action, not doing the action. You could turn this into the active and say before astronomers detected the asteroid. So this is in the active form. It's not easy for asteroids to become mini moons because they have to be traveling at just the right speed and direction to be captured by Earth's gravity. Instead of saying not easy, you could replace this with one word that means the opposite. So if something isn't easy, it means it's difficult or it's challenging. So notice here, to be difficult, to be challenging. You would keep the subject and the verb. It's difficult, it's challenging for asteroids to become. Now we use for plus noun and then to with your verb, which is the infinitive. It's not easy for asteroids. It's difficult for asteroids. It's challenging for asteroids. Now why? Because they have to be traveling at just the right speed. Previously, we talked a lot about the word about, approximately, but here, just the right speed means exactly the right speed. So it would sound very different. It would communicate a very different idea if you said about the right speed. It sounds like there's flexibility, but if you say just the right speed, it sounds like there's an exact correct speed that the asteroid has to be traveling at. There isn't a range. When you use about, it sounds like there's a range. The word just, that means exactly, is commonly used in daily speech. You need to add just the right amount of salt. You don't need to include just. You could say you need to add the right amount of salt. But adding just sounds stronger. You're emphasizing it. You need to add exactly the right amount of salt. No more, no less. Just the right amount. Or I could say this shirt fits just right. So exactly right. Not too small, not too loose. Exactly right. Just right. And that's the end of the article. So hopefully you found that the length of this lesson was just right, not too long, not too short. So put just right if you think it was just right, because we commonly use that with time as well. So this lesson was just the right time. But maybe you don't feel that way, so you can let me know as well. So now what I'll do is I'll read the article from start to finish, and you can focus on my pronunciation. A space rock is about to become Earth's new mini-moon. Earth is about to gain a new mini-moon, but it won't stay around for long. The newly discovered asteroid, named 2024 PT5, will temporarily be captured by Earth's gravity and orbit our world from September 29th to November 25th, according to astronomers. Then, the space rock will return to a heliocentric orbit, which is an orbit around the Sun. Details about the ephemeral mini-moon and the horseshoe-shaped path it travels were published this month in the research notes of the American Astronomical Society. Astronomers first spotted the asteroid on August 7th using the South Africa-based observatory of the NASA-funded Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS. The asteroid is likely about 37 feet, 11 meters in diameter, but more observations and data are needed to confirm its size. The space rock will orbit about 2.6 million miles, 4.2 million kilometers away, or about 10 times the distance between Earth and the Moon. As a result, asteroid 2024 PT5 isn't in any danger of colliding with Earth now or over the next few decades. Earth has previously captured other temporary mini-moons, such as asteroid 2020 CD3. Although that asteroid was first spotted whirling around Earth in February 2020 and departed a couple of months later, research showed it had orbited our planet for a few years before being detected. It's not easy for asteroids to become mini-moons because they have to be traveling at just the right speed and direction to be captured by Earth's gravity.
Do you want me to make another lesson just like this? If you do, then put yes, 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 put yes, 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 yes in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And I have another lesson I know you'll love, so make sure you watch it right now.